Welcome back to the channel, Bridging the Gap, Student to Engineer. This video is a school deep dive into the University of Alabama. This was a request from a viewer like you. So if you have other requests, please let us know and we will put them on our list and get them out to you. So let's get to the data. The University of Alabama shares their data on the website for Division of Student Life Career Center. I will provide this link in the comments or the description for the video. So make sure to check it out if you want more information besides what's shared here. So the website itself has a lot of general information, interesting things to read if you have not looked at any of these reports before. If you have, you can just go straight down to the Tableau report. If you have not looked at any of these reports below, check out our video on using employment data to choose a school. I'll provide the link here. But for now, we'll just go down into the data. So once we get into the Power BI dashboard, we can just look at the data as a whole. This is their summary page. It allows us to pick the semester that we're going after. It does not allow us to pick multiple semesters. Typically, what we try to do is get all of the semesters for graduates for the latest year. In this case, we're just going to do spring of 24 since that is the latest. So the university got a response from 80% of the graduates in spring 2024 that were getting a bachelor's from the College of Engineering. And the top employers are listed here. They are alphabetical, so we don't know how many were actually hired by each of these companies, but it's a pretty good indication if they're in here as a top employer that they recruit from the school. One thing I want to point out that I don't see on here is Amazon. Typically Amazon hires from lots and lots of schools, so their absence is an interesting one to me. Not necessarily bad or good, but just something to note. But all of the companies on the left are in industries that are in the middle here. Again, alphabetical order, not necessarily the most common, but it does show that engineers with a bachelor's from University of Alabama are going to a wide variety of industries. So going in, getting a degree from this school can lead you a lot of places. Now in the lower middle, we've got the reported average salary being $77,604 with 99% of respondents to the survey working full-time. So that's a good thing. The salary is just a little bit low. I don't think that it's really surprising given where the school is and the cost of living. We'll look in another tab where graduates go, and it is not really heavy into places with a really high cost of living. So I think this is a good healthy number. Okay, and then we go to post-graduation status. So 62% working, 31% continue their education, 6% still looking, 1% military. So let's just pause and comment on these. So 6% still looking is a really good number. That is reflective of the 93% over here, positive outcome rate with some rounding. So very good numbers. The fact that 31% of grads are continuing their education is interesting to me. That is higher than we typically see. So not huge. This is not 50%. We have seen 50% at some of the schools like MIT, but there are a pretty high percent of students continuing their education. So the next tab here on the bottom is location. I've gone here and put the right filters in so we can see the data that we're looking for. I will start with the outcomes by post-grad location. Out of Alabama, 60%. 6%. In Alabama's 34%. The in-state retention of grads for Alabama, University of Alabama, is significantly lower than most state schools. And so if you are looking at going to University of Alabama, you don't have to feel like the only opportunities that you're going to get are in-state, because they are mostly out of state is what we're seeing. But the interesting thing about the the top destination. So typically, regardless of where a school is, the top destination is the school itself or the state where the school is. And then we see Washington, California, and Texas. Those are always featured. And then depending on the school, you'll see like a smattering across the whole US or just regional. But what we're seeing with the University of Alabama is Washington doesn't have a dot at all, which means presumably none of the grads from the College of Engineering with a bachelor's in spring of 24 went to a job in the state of Washington. There's also very few dots in California, and while there are more dots in Texas, they're still not heavily featured there. And when we look at the top destinations, these are by city, which is pretty nice to see it broken down that way. But you can see that a lot of grads are staying in the South or going to places in the South. All of these top locations are in the south east of the US. So while you can't necessarily expect that all your opportunities will be in the state of Alabama, you can comfortably say that you can expect to have opportunities in the southeast if that is what you want. But as you can see, there are grads going other places, so there are opportunities in other locations. I've gone to the last tab here, graduate school, just to make a few comments. I typically don't spend a lot of time looking at grad schools or master's programs, but I just wanted to point out something here. Of the spring 2024 graduates with a bachelor's from the College of Engineering from the University of Alabama, we saw a huge percent or pretty big percent of students that were continuing their education, but it is overwhelmingly students that are staying at the University of Alabama and going to get a master's over here in business administration. So what it looks like is a large chunk of the bachelor graduates, at least in this year, decided to continue and get a master's in business administration. That's not really typical for engineers. While I have heard a lot of discussions and been in discussions about whether or not this is a good idea to get a technical bachelor's and then an MBA right away, usually the discussion is that when you've got both and you haven't had any work experience, employers don't know if you're a business person or an engineer, and they want to have discussions with you about that versus just hiring you for a job. And so it is interesting to me that such a large percent of the graduates are deciding to do that, and I'm sure there's something going on at the school that is pushing things that way, because this is absolutely not typical. That's a review of all the data that University of Alabama shares with us about their engineering grads. If you'd like more information, please leave a comment, a question, and we will get back with you. Also, check out our other videos with other schools and general advice about choosing a school for yourself or your student. We'll see you next time.